Hey, this is Finding Value. I had a comment. It was from Marco. He was talking about how do I purchase metals, and I was talking about liquidity. How do I handle liquidity and stuff like that. And I'm gonna scroll down to a platinum chart, and I'm gonna describe kind of what I do. So we've got these big chart patterns, and you've got these up movements. Now, some of these up movements are quite radical. So you can't really, you kind of just, I don't buy into weakness, I buy into strength. And the liquidity, if you look at, I'm gonna take this big up move, right? My example would be, I would not buy on anywhere on this chart moving down. I would not be a buyer. So I need the ratios to turn green for whatever metal I'm buying first. That's number one. Once they turn green, I'm turned on to buying that metal. So right here, I guarantee you platinum was cheap. So let's say I've got the green light to go. So I'm looking at this pattern here, and I'll probably say, screw it, I'm gonna start buying somewhere in here. So I start buying, and then it starts moving up, buy. I see it break, buy. So I'm buying, and I don't have my huge liquidity. When we start to get to this top here, and it rolls over, I stop buying. I stop buying right here, and I wait. I don't know how long this is. It's 6 months to a year or something like that. So I'm not buying this metal anymore, and I'm adding so-called liquidity. And if the other metals don't give me green lights, I'm not buying anything. It comes on down, and I'm saving my money. Then when it breaks this downtrend and it turns up and it starts getting stronger, I'm a buyer. I'm buy, you know, in that type of scenario. So my liquidity was strengthening. When it was weak here, it's strengthening, then I deploy it. I deploy it when it comes back up here. Because we just broke this large pattern to the upside. And we know it's cheap because we're gonna get the green light, and then obviously it's getting cheaper here. Once it breaks the downtrend, I deploy it all again into platinum, and I buy into strength. And then eventually, when the green signal, when it's not as cheap to the other metals, I stop buying that metal, and I start increasing my liquidity to buy something else, whatever's giving me the green light. And then I ride it up until it becomes overvalued. So I think silver is the same way. I don't buy on these coming down. And then once it kind of breaks, once I get the green light from the ratios, this is a nice one here. Green light from the ratios, and it breaks this trend here, I'd be a buyer in here, and I just buy it all in here. Buy. Breaks to the upside, I'd be a buyer here, buyer here. Comes up, and let's say it's still green, I would not be a buyer as it pulls back and it has to break that downtrend. And that's why we saw platinum, right? I'll pull it up here. Platinum is right here. So I was a buyer when we went into this mix here, and see how it kind of came up. See, these are big up days, and then you see these small consolidation days. That's an upward move. It's a stair step. First stair, second stair, third stair, fourth stair. Then we broke out to the downside here. You can see this pattern right here, and we got a kind of an upper level, this channel. It broke down to the downside. I want to see some strength. You know, from here, I'm kind of gaining liquidity, because if it comes down here, I want to buy down here. I need to see a break of this downtrend. And right now, we haven't broken the downtrend. We're still coming down. So I'm not an ultra aggressive buyer into weakness. I like to see a bottom, and I have it turn, so I buy into strength. So that's what I do in terms of liquidity, is I don't buy into weakness. I wait for it to bottom, I wait for it to turn, and then I buy. That's me personally. Other people, they like to cost average down and buy into weakness. The problem is, if you're going down a long ways, you could have used all that money up here to purchase maybe 2 times the metal down here. So what I did, I mean, I think I bought it on this day, literally right here. I bought it from Wholesale Coin Direct, and they only allowed me to buy one coin. They limited the purchase. But I did buy it right at this up, because I knew it was, it's like, man, this is so cheap, you got to just keep buying. So I bought it all through this entire area down here. That's where I was purchasing. And I did go very aggressive here. But see these consolidations, and then they have these moves back and forth. And then this is on this bottom here, this big wick. That was a reversal day. Then it slowed down. It was like, you know, your contraction here, your candlesticks went day after day. See it contract? And then we got this big up day. It's like, ooh, we're going to get a big move here. And it's at such a low price under the mining cost. I was like, I had to buy some. So I bought there, I bought here, I bought in here, I bought a whole bunch too. I had some money I had from stocks that I sold back up from Roku, which I made like 300% on or so. And I deployed it all, you know, in here. So hopefully this helps you on how I purchase things. I do not buy into weakness unless it is so extreme that the first signal I see in large extremes is to purchase, you know, this bottom here. This also had confluence, this bottom, with all the other metals and all the other markets. This chart here is a mimic of the overall market. And if this overall market falls to the downside, we could see this be really bad for a year or two. But that'll give you a year or two's, you know, entire worth of being able to cost average in. So you're not really losing if this gets drawn out. Now, another thing, if they are manipulating the markets, the big banks like JP Morgan and all them, to keep the stranglehold on the reserve currency, because obviously these things are a signal to the entire world that something is wrong with your currency. If they are manipulating these things, they're giving us the best opportunity to pick up metals for so cheap that eventually when the manipulation fails, because no one can manipulate everything forever. If it is manipulated and they can manipulate these things downward, we are going to get a very good opportunity to purchase the metals cheap, and then eventually it'll just shoot higher. It'll be almost revalued. So that's why we want to cost average in, get our metals, and hopefully they are manipulating it, because then we're all gonna, you know, be rewarded very, very well for being the contrarian against all of society, basically. This is Finding Value. Hopefully you guys are getting a whole bunch of value from these things. Hopefully it's opening your mind to see things a little differently. Click subscribe, leave some comments, and hopefully you're having a great day. Thank you.